My name's Barnaby Smyth and this is Feet First Sound and the Laundry Foley Studio here in sunny Coggeshall, just west of Colchester. We specialise in Foley for film, television and advertising. And today we'll be looking at how we recorded the Foley for The Night Manager, which we did last year. Foley is the art of creating unique sounds in a studio like this, performed by Foley artists such as myself. Sometimes it could be 2 Foley artists, sometimes 1. And we watch everything on screen and we basically recreate everything on screen, bar the dialogue and the music, obviously. And it's broken down into 3 main categories: the footsteps, the movement track, and the spot effects. So the footsteps, every surface the characters you are watching on screen walk on, whether it be wood, gravel, carpet, running upstairs, running in the sea, running whatever it is, we do all those. We perform them as close to sync as we can, and then obviously we edit them in time afterwards, so everything's absolutely frame accurate. The movement tracks is the cloth movement, so if someone's walking along, we follow the rhythm of their body, the movement of their body, and we recreate that with whatever cloth they're wearing. So it might be a flowing silk dress, it might be a leather jacket. So finally, the spot effects is everything else apart from the feet and the moves. So sitting in chairs, fighting, picking up glasses, striking a match, smoking, all these little incidental sounds, the spot effects. So these 3 main areas, the feet, the moves, and the spots, build up the Foley soundtrack, which is then added to the dialogues and the music and the effects. So the clip we're going to use is from The Night Manager Ep 5, which we were Emmy nominated for. It was a great sounding episode, and the clip we're going to use shows Tom Hiddleston running down a dirt track, picking up a pair of pliers from a tent, clipping through a wire meshed fence. He meets a couple of villagers who've just had their village bombed by the Hugh Laurie character, so they're obviously a bit disgruntled. So they're meeting Tom Hiddleston and they're saying they're going to confront the Hugh Laurie character. And there's a young son of this man and his son, whose grandmother, I think, has been bombed badly, and the son's got a Kalashnikov rifle, and they're carrying the grandmother on a wooden cart. So obviously we had to do the movement of the rifle, the cart, Tom Hiddleston's feet on the dirt, which is this sort of deserty dirt track. So it's sort of dusty and gravelly and stuff. So got to get that surface right. These clothes moves, obviously, picking up the wire cutters, going through the fence. As we go through the process, it's one at a time. So you think, oh, okay, we'll do the footsteps and then we'll do the spot effects and we'll go through those. We'll source the prop from outside in the warehouse and we'll perform it. And Keith, my engineer, will say, that doesn't sound very good. Why don't you try that other spanner out there? It's a bit loose or whatever. You know, there's a conversation that happens between us. And then we slowly build up the scene. And hopefully it sounds, you know, when everything comes together at the end, all the elements sit there and it sounds good. So the equipment we use, we're using a Mac Pro computer running Pro Tools 12 and the Audient 16-track desk. And so obviously all the sounds run through that. And we do a lot of EQing on the Audient desk to get the sound right. So it's not just a case of sticking the fader up and putting a mic up and it working. There's a lot of manipulation that we do. We do a fair bit of manipulation within Pro Tools as well, RX, Transmod, these sort of things. So now we're going to run through the recording process that we undertook on this particular sequence. Okay, so first off, we're going to be shooting Tom Hiddleston's feet. So we need to mic up this dirt gravel surface we've got set up here. So it's an exterior. So we want to keep the mic nice and tight. Don't want it to sound interior in any way. Couple of little screens to keep the sound from splashing around. So it starts with Tom Hiddleston running down this dirt path. Make sure it's sounding good. Let's have a crack. And so the next shot is Tom Hiddleston on the far shot running down the hill. So we'll pick up on that. Okay, so that's the footsteps for that little section. So we'll now do the moves for that section, the cloth movement track. So we're going to move the microphone back here, sticking with the shotgun. We have a particular angle that we like to shoot at. And then we're going to have to use these baffles. Just quickly get this baffle here. And then we need to get some cloth. So he's wearing kind of army soft clothing. So I need to replicate that. So we got all number of soft jumpers, zingy kind of jackets for the sort of ute, silk dresses. So everything you want, fur, even fur for animals, suede. But this is just a soft, heavy cloth will do for now. So we're going back to the top. I just layer up this cloth. And so now I'm looking at the rhythm and the movement of Tom Hiddleston, how he's running down this hill. I'm going to mimic that to add a layer of the move track. Okay. All right, Keith, when you're ready. So the next thing we need to do is to deal with the spot effects in that sequence. So as Tom Hiddleston runs down, he goes to the tent, flips up a little bit of a tent flap, and then gets the fence cutters. And that means we're going to have to go into the prop store and pick up a couple of bits of kit from there. So I'll go through to there. So this is the prop warehouse. This is the original warehouse, and then the studio's been built in it. So it's loads of room for all a massive array of props, everything you need, tapes, guns, stationery, toys, kitchen. So we break everything down. So if we need to find something, it's kind of easy. So for this particular thing, tools, it's got loads of different drills and Stanley knives and little screwdrivers and stuff. So, but it's got a nice loose. This thing's, I've got it in mind. This will be a good little clippers. We'll deal with the clipping sound separately, but I think for now these should be just right. Let's just try and maybe add that as a little element, and then go back to the studio and then get these used. Because it's exterior, I'll keep the booth in place to keep any sounds from splashing around the studio. So basically I'm just going to mimic, as Tom Hiddleston picks up the fence clippers, I'm just going to mimic them with this tool, and then do a little snapping sound with this thing on the as he cuts the fence. Okay. So the next element we need to build up this fence. So as this tool, it comes into contact with the fence, we need the whole fence to wobble and the little snip sound as he cuts the fence. So it's back to the warehouse to pick up another couple of props. So I'm thinking for the fence, we've got an array of nice reverberant metal here. So I'm thinking metal with mesh. It's noisy stuff. I can already hear the fence in this, so this stuff will be good. That's sounding pretty good. And so now, because I've moved it onto the floor, I'm going to bring the mic down. I don't want it to be off mic, so we'll change the mic orientation. So the shotgun's pointing right at it. I'm just going to bring in the little tool element I had, just to help the interaction with when he snips the fence. We want the clippers to come into contact with the fence. Yeah, that's good. I think I'll leave the larger tool out. Okay, Keith, let's go for this. Okay, so we combine the fence itself with the clippers snipping the fence, and I added with a tool. It builds up these layers of sound which you buy as reality. Tidy studio is a happy studio. So the really exciting wall, the gun wall. So this gun actually sounds better with the mag out. I'm actually sometimes I like to combine, it's an old First World War rifle, but it's got a nice, actually if we combine the two of them, they have a really nice sound to them. I'm going to be standing up for this, so similar miking to the Moves track. So I'm using two elements of the old wooden gun and the metal gun with a bit of a strap. So just to replicate this boy's gun on screen. Okay, here we go. That was good. So just make sure the boy doesn't do anything more with it, but I think that's it. The father talks. There's a little bit of movement there for the boy. Let's just pick up on that. So then I think it's the cart, isn't it? Okay, so put the guns down. Let's get the cart. Oh, classic old creaky pram. And I just got one more element to bring in. Okay, so a case that's weirdly got a real wooden element. I'll do this first, then if we feel like we need any more wooden elements to it. But the sort of wobbly metal wheels and the mechanics often, that will be enough. So let's just have a listen. Okay. Nice. Do you want to do an alternate with a bit less squeak, maybe? Yeah, I'll try a few, maybe more knocks from the case. Okay. Okay, so that's all the recorded elements for the sequence, and we need to then go over to the computer and check out the edit and make sure everything's absolutely bang in sync to the picture before we send it to the mixer. So we come back over to the computer and just check out the edit. I'm going to make sure everything's in place. So here we've got all the tracks. We've got the footsteps tracks we've recorded, the movement tracks, and all the spot effects. So it's all clearly labelled for the mixer. So here we have on track 2 the gravel feet. So I can zoom right in to each footstep, so you can see each mod of each footstep. So say if one particular footstep was not in sync, I can quickly cut it, move it about, make sure it's absolutely bang in sync. The pliers, I can scrub each, make sure they're absolutely bang in sync. And then we add the fence wobble. I have the completed edit as went out on transmission. So this is just the Foley playing, no guide track for the sequence. Let's have a listen. Up to the wobbling cart. So all the elements in, and now I can even I'll play you how it sits within a mix, because I think it's important to hear the Foley in context. So this is music, dialogue, although there isn't really any dialogue in this particular sequence, and sound effects, so you can hear like dogs barking and just the atmospheres.
Mario. I work at the camp. Have you come across the border?
No. Okay, so there we have it. So the final, all the atmospheres and the music, and obviously the dialogue leading into that. You can see how Foley sits within the soundscape and is a vital element. But often an element, when we do our job well, that's invisible and you just believe it to be reality.